Afternoon. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It's been a beautiful, beautiful day around here. Slept in just a little bit, went to yoga class, went out to brunch, got family coming over later, client appointments, taking down Christmas stuff, and processing. So much processing. As a coach educator, I'm often asked, "Oh, do you still do this? Do you still do that? Oh, you still," and people even give me this look of amazement that I do all the same processes and journal prompts and explorative work that I give to my clients to do. And I do it over and over again, over the course of the last 2 decades and then some. I have been doing the same work repeatedly, year in and year out. And that might sound like, well, that doesn't sound like such a great success, right? Why would you be doing the same work over and over again? If you should get this, you should be able to heal that. You should be able to change that pattern. You should be able to move through that challenge, that restriction. What's wrong with you, Kendal, that you're doing the same work repeatedly every year, around? And I can tell you that if you're not doing the same work every year round and you think that you've got something nipped in the butt and that you're just done, and we're done with that. That's number one, you're not as smart as you think you are. You're not as embodied as you think you are. And you probably are not really doing the work, because the work is not a one-time gig. The work is all about repetition. Repetition is the mother of all learning. It is also the healing agent of all learning, but it is rooted and founded in love. Okay? So, yeah, I do the same work over and over again. The same stuff that I give my clients, I'm consistently doing. And when I'm working with clients, and there's the beautiful, beautiful thing about being a coach educator, is that we coaches, educators, practitioners, we get to do our work on steroids, because as we're working with people, God brings us the perfect clients at the perfect time for us to move through our crap right along with them. So when I say that I've been doing a lot of processing, I mean that I've been doing a lot of processing because right now I have some absolutely fucking phenomenal people in my life that have come in and revealed themselves and have opened up their being in their own work. They've become so vulnerable and surrendered to the process of coaching and the healing work that we do together that it is transformative, not just for them, but it is also a blessing for myself because I get to do different work with them. Yesterday, I was working with a gentleman that as I keep saying, I'm I have an affinity for this man. I just have an affinity for this man. When I think of him, when I see him, my heart ignites and I just smile. Deep within inside my soul, there is a smiling that happens. And it's a special, special person that brings that into our lives. And I'm sure that you might have somebody in your life that does that for you. But this particular gentleman, he does. He ignites my heart at a deep soul level with a smile, with just this affinity, this love of unconditional love and space holding. And it's beautiful. And we shared this profoundly intimate moment yesterday during some eye-gazing exercises that I think transported us both into this internal world of what the fuck, And I've experienced similar events of this profound intimacy with different people throughout the course of time since I was about 15 years old. I've had this happen, and I appreciate the rareness and the intimacy and the depth and the connection of this kind of work and realization. But what I want to talk to you about is healing of 1,000 years, and that's kind of what I'm titling it. I've been really, really processing this, and I messaged him this morning and told him, something about, and I used the term, Thank you for this moment, this day, and yesterday, and thank you for the last 1,000 years, or something like that is what I said to him. And it was just my gratitude for his energy and his connection, and it feels like a relationship of knowing each other for that kind of timeline. And as I came to terms with that, I was like, what is the actual offering here? And the actual offering is a healing of 1,000 years, as I'm titling it, right? And the healing of 1,000 years, if you believe in past lives, or you believe that energy never, stops existing, that even when our physical body ends, that this consciousness that makes up us, that connects us to everything, that is a piece of the divine living through us, right? That goes back out into the cosmos, that goes out into the greater scope, the mass of consciousness that is the creation of everything that we know and that we don't know, right? And in that consciousness is where life formulates. It is how we move through everything. So wouldn't it make sense that it's been around for at least 1,000 years, right? So maybe there's a piece of you, there's this essence of you that has been around, existed, and maybe even has conscious awareness that you can tap into in different moments of existence or experiences of time and space where you actually have direct awareness and memory attachment. We know that crystal holds memory. Crystal holds memory. Is that not interesting? That's always it's amazing to me that, a stone, a rock, basically, we'll just call it a rock. Please, any geologists out there, don't go yelling at me. I know that I'm wrong. It's not a rock. But for simplicity's sake, I'm going to say this rock called crystal, called quartz, right? It holds memory. It actually holds the memories of our world. It holds the memories of millions of years in it, depending on how big and how long it has been around. But as through it grows, it actually can hold memory. And you know what? We use crystal. Interesting thing is we use crystal to hold memory, and for our processors and like computers and our phones and all this, our technical world runs on crystal-backed memory, that's just to me, that's just one of those maybe it's some sort of simplistic thing, and just because I'm not a scientist or some tech person and I don't understand all that, it's probably just some simple little thing, right? But you know what? It isn't simple. It is a freaking miracle. It's magic to the nth degree that we use this bit of crystal. And if you think about it, 200 years ago, some poor woman probably was burned at the stake or drowned with stones for running around with a crystal and saying that it held memory or something because she was a witch, right? And now we use this in our computer systems and in technology, and it's just normalcy for us. Well, that crystal holds memory of at least 1,000 years, a lot of it, right? And we can run tests on it, and we can explore, and we can do all this different stuff. Just like ice, when we start digging around on the different caps around, the North Pole and the South Pole, we go into that. There is memory held in the ice. We can actually move back. We can, water molecules can tell us different things of time past. And it is just this magical experience. It's a history book of our world. Well, here we are. All of that is made of electrons and neurons and all these other ons and stuff, as we grow and expand our knowledge around science, and we come up with new names for smaller and smaller particles in the quantum field and everything that we know that possibly could exist, but we still can't see, and we can't really formulate words for or understand at any level. All of this is out here in this 98% of the world that we don't see, that we can't tangibly touch or experience. It is out here, right? And it is consistently forming and manifesting in different ways in our world, in very real world physical ways, with hard stuff and all of that. With that, those same cells, those same micro memories of all of time and space that are floating around in the cosmos that have consciousness to them. We have proven scientifically that they have consciousness to them, right? And that our focus applied to any of this actually changes its pattern. It changes its direction, right? I mean, that's pretty freaking interesting right there, that we can come along, and if we all started focusing and thinking, if you had enough people, whatever that critical mass tipping point is, we all of a sudden decided that this was a banana and not my cup of coffee, and we had enough people actually thinking it, that we just started visualizing a banana, that this potentially could form into a banana. Now, that would be absolutely like really crazy shit right there, right? And that would be some magic stuff. But the point is that because we have a critical mass of thinking going towards any particular thing, our world exists the way it does because of our focused, congruent thought, okay? And the way we experience and the way we feel and the way we move through life because of our patterns and just the way our upbringing, our programs, right? So we have habitual action and thinking and emotionalizing to the world around us and to our existence, which contains our world in the shape that it is in, moving the direction that it is in at the time and space that it is moving. Okay? And that is just consciousness of thought interacting with other consciousness of energy that we see and don't see. Okay? We move down to this microscopic level. What are we made of? What are we made of? We're made of the same thing that crystal is made of, that the water is made of. Matter of fact, we are mostly water, okay? We are made mostly of water. We're made of the same thing that my coffee cup's made of, that the table that I'm sitting at is made of, that the tree, everything breaks down to the exact same particles, just manifested differently, with different frequencies, different vibrations. And whatever we're vibrating, whatever anything is vibrating at, is what it is actually manifesting as, right? So, is it too far to expand the possibility of thought that these same particles, these same understandings that are down here, they all hold memory, much like the crystal and the water, right? They hold memory. They're here inside. And what if this consciousness called Kendal right here actually has existed in 1,000 lifetimes, over 1,000 years? What if that consciousness just reformulates itself, manifests into different bodies? Now we look at life as though I'm alive. This is my body. This is my heart. This is my blood pumping. This is my brain. This is my lungs moving in and out, air coming and going, right? So that's us living. But do we actually have a death? I don't believe that there is death, because I believe that consciousness is what is life, and consciousness just manifests in different ways, different physical existences and different non-physical existences. That's why we have, through all the course of time, experienced these random things that we can't even fathom. Like if you go way, way back into Egypt, or even into caveman days, you'll find drawings of different similar entities that everybody's talking about. And we'll just use angels for an example, okay? There is winged man-looking winged humanoids drawn and depicted all over the world throughout the course of time, going back as far as we possibly can into human existence, okay? So there's something going on, something more, something expansive, something at this consciousness level that is manifesting. Is it possible, though, that our consciousness, our personality of consciousness can manifest in different physical forms throughout the course of the existence of this world that we live in? I don't know. Here I am. I'm just a human being sitting here throwing out ideas to you this morning. I, for one, do have a belief that I question consistently, because of my critical, logical mind, which refuses to 100% get on board with anything that is woo-woo out there. So I am constantly in denial and judgment and questioning of any spiritual thing, okay? At the same time, I have more than enough personal experiences and just stuff that I go, wow, that's unexplainable. That was weird. That was weird. To make me go, oh, well, maybe there's a reasonable doubt here that it could possibly be so. So I do have this piece of me that believes in past lives, that believes that we reincarnate, and that this personality known as me, is persona known as me, just reinvents herself in different, ways throughout the course of time, as a man, as a woman, as a whatever. I don't know about it, like reinventing into a tree or whatever. I've read stuff on like the most elevated, I believe that Kabbalah believes that the most elevated souls reincarnate as fish because it is the least painful existence, and that it is the most giving existence because fish give up themselves and everything and they don't really feel pain. I don't know about any of that. I'm not setting anything in stone here. But with this idea of reincarnation, past lives, I can tell you that I've done a massive amount of work over the last 25 years around this particular topic. And right when I put it down for a good time frame and kind of just choose to ignore it and go into my logical, mind and like, no, I'm going to just like stick with this right here. What inevitably happens in that moment of release is that somebody walks in my door in my life and reawakens this possibility. So the other day, yesterday, when I was sitting with this man and we were doing eye gazing and we were having this experience, and there's this eye gazing exercise that you can do, and sometimes you can tap in and you can see what I refer to as like a morphing process that happens where all of a sudden the person in front of you will start shifting and changing, and they might be a male or a female, old, young, the same nationality or not. You may see what would be considered the aura coming off of them, energy, lights, spots of light, coming out of their heart center, their throat, their mind, their head, off their shoulders, all these different things you can notice. And sometimes in these moments, you'll have like a fog, a cloud come in as you focus just on the one eye. You'll have like this fog come in, and then as it opens and clears, you might find yourself transported into a picture. Where this picture comes from, no freaking clue. But I can tell you what, it's very interesting. I've not yet had anything happen where somebody's looked at me and gone, well, that's just crazy talk. I'll share what I see in these moments, and when I see this, typically the other person will have an emotional response to it or go, oh my God, I just recently had a dream like that, or that is like a reoccurring dream that I've had since I was 7 or 8, or I'm completely caught up on that. That's exactly the same thing that I keep seeing in different times, or all this different stuff. There is a definite connection that takes place when those events occur. To not get into details, what my belief and through the years of experience has taught me is that these kind of events, when we come into connection at that level and we start to experience somebody from, a millennia before and through the course of their conscious experience, as consciousness awakening and manifesting and living and experiencing this thing we call life. What it is being offered to us through this exchange and this viewing of that is healing. It is healing not just for one, but it is healing for both. Because there is a recognition, there is an appreciation, there is a depth of understanding, there is a clearing of stuck emotion in the physical body that can cause such constriction. It can cause physical ailment in the body. And what happens when we have these breakthrough moments of actually witnessing and seeing each other at that level is that we start to break open that energy within the other person, and typically where we are matching wounds. Okay? Because that's what we do. We match wounds. We draw into us the people that have similar or like wounding, and we are there to do healing together. Okay? We are there to do healing together. But we have to do it without attachment, right? We have to do it in this thing called unconditional love and acceptance, and just moving into it with grace and appreciation. And grace and appreciation means compassion for being human, compassion for the moment, for the experience, for the what ifs, for the wronging, the undoing of all this time gone past. And as we merge into that, we experience this true depth of soul level healing. But we do it together. We do it together. As I sat with this morning and last night, just really embracing the processing of what's going on. It's interesting because every time I'm around this paternal gentleman, I always get this spot like right here on my chest, and it feels like there's just this nasty dagger, and it's actually right here, and it's just sore as heck right now. And I did not have this before. I have not hit myself here. I have not stretched in some funky way that caused just this one little round spot right here. This just manifested right here on my chest, and it is tender and sore and hard, and it's just a very interesting spot, and it really feels like there's like this little like dagger or spear kind of going through me. And this happens every time I see him, and I welcome it. That might be crazy, but I welcome it, because I understand that I've had a lot of constriction around my heart. Guess what our matching wound is? Our matching wound is our armor, and where we're arming up. Our matching wound is this thing called the heart, our space of unconditional love, our space of healing around it, so that we can actually step in, lean in, and allow ourselves to release that constriction and start to feel and trust again in a state of unconditional love and grace for self and for another. So here we are, we're coming together, and we're matching each other on that wound, both carrying what is known as emotional armor, or like a plate of armor over us, protecting, shielding, and keeping distance from love. But when we have these moments where we connect at a level that is unexplainable, a level that is just out of this world, and there's no, just right where we just go, wow, what does that do to the armor? What does that do to this resistance? As I described it last night to my lover, I was telling him, I said, there's this, I feel like my heart has been like this, and where it was starting to loosen up, but it's still tight, and I still feel like the chains, and it's stuck in all of this from the last few years of me just like really holding and containing and having trust breaches and having different things happen. I feel like I've really like tightened around my heart and have it really locked up and armored, and I'm keeping it all safe, right? I'm like, but that's not how I want to be. I know what it feels like to have my heart like this, to have my heart open, and to breathe into that, and to be able to connect at that level, and what that does for me as a human being, and for everybody that I'm around, because there's so much love there to give, and so much connection and everything that can be given when our hearts are open. But when we're feeling like this, which a lot of people do, right? Because of the wounding that we've experienced, we have our hearts potentially like this. Mine has, over the course of the last year, moved more into like a state where it's still locked down pretty good, but it's a lot looser of a lockdown. Like the chains are loosening up, right? And what I felt happened yesterday as this awareness and this meeting of acceptance and knowing at a deeper level that happened between the two of us yesterday during that eye gaze. And what I felt my heart do like this was it went from this state and it went like this. And it actually feels like some of the chains have kind of dropped off. It feels like some of the chains have just dropped off. and there's just more room in my chest, and I can breathe easier, and I feel more excited and playful and turned on and connective and just certain about certain things, like direction, path, purpose, like the decisions that I want to make. Do I want that? Yes, no, and I feel so much more confident in the path, because my heart, which was locked down, which was preventing me from making direct decisions based on what I actually need to do, it was in this. So my clarity was also blocked, because when we armor up our hearts and we go into this protective shield mode, we also armor up our ability to see clearly, to make accurate judgments and movements in our life, because we're not acting from a place of what feels good and right to us. We're acting from a place of armor, which is restriction and fear. Okay, so we have separated our connector to our soul, which is our heart. We've separated ourselves from it, and thus we have separated ourselves and caused separation between us and our soul, which is why then we make a decision and then shit doesn't work out, and then we're like, why do I always attract that kind of person into my life? Why did I go back to that person? Why did this happen? Why did I go over here? Why did I take that job? Why did I make that decision with my money? Why didn't I go and do this with my health? Why is this coming in on my health? I should have seen this. I should have done this. I shoulda. And all that shoulda is created because of the armor that we have placed to protect us, because we are fearful. So we have shut down, put the armor up, and now we have separated ourselves from our truth. We have separated ourselves from our heart. But as we move into these spaces and start to open, and sometimes we need a good swift kick in the butt where our soul comes in and says, no, we're going to force you into opening just a little bit. We're going to take some of those chains off. We're going to knock some of those bricks down, take some of those sheets of metal that you have put up, and we're going to take them down, because we're going to give you an experience. We're going to give you an experience that you can't explain. We're going to give you an experience that's going to go deep and go thousands of years back, because this wound that has you so armored up, it was triggered by this over here and this over here that you have no actual understanding, comprehension, or experience of in this given life experience. But it is actually connecting, because we are going back to what has the cells, what has your energy being, your true state of consciousness experienced in all the course of time and space. What have you actually experienced? That energy, that consciousness can be triggered to go this way or that way by different things, by focus, by attention, by awareness, by experience, and by actions that are taking place. Okay, so as we do that, as we're moving through, if you wonder, like, man, I have a deja vu experience. I feel like I've met this person before. I know this person, but I don't know this person. I don't know why I trust this person. I don't know why I'm feeling love toward that person. I don't know why I fucking hate that person. That person freaks me out, and I don't have no reason for it. They might be a perfectly nice person, but I'm just feeling jarred up. I'm feeling locked down. I'm feeling open. I'm feeling turned on. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling that. When we actually tap into that, those are all guidance systems, and it's leading us down that path to the best healing, the quickest healing, the most revealing of our truth, our soul, and it is clearing not just the wounds of this lifetime, but in my opinion, and from what I can tell from all my mentors and experience and learning and everything throughout this lifetime, I can tell you that if past lives are a thing, if our consciousness is a forever existence with the divine, and that we are just reinventing ourselves, like buying a new car consistently, that is us stepping into a new physical form. As we are moving into that, if that is what really is going on, then guess what? The wounds that we carry with us are not just from this lifetime. They are from many, many lifetimes. They are generational wounds. They are mass wounds around different thoughts, people, beliefs, and us, our soul. I could go on for hours. I could on this particular topic. Like, I could teach a whole weekend class on it, because this is actually like goes right back to like my heart, my soul, like right where for years and years and years, I used to do spiritual dream interpretation coaching and past life regression coaching and moving people through everything and all of the energy work and the Reiki and the quantum touch and the auras and all of that stuff. And, I've done so much work around this. I spent a good probably 15 years of my coaching practice focused very much on these topics right here and delving deep into this stuff. And so this is like a big time passion to me around exactly what the potential is, and for everybody out there who's like, yeah, that's great for you metaphysical people, but over here in Bible land, that's not a thing. I encourage you to read your Bibles. Because I could get you many a quote about past lives and resurrection and reincarnation in the Bible as well. It's all in there. It is very much along biblical beliefs as well, if you are willing to actually open your eyes and see. I encourage you, though, number one, hit the share button. Hit the share button here, hit the share button, hit the share button. Oh, hit the share button some more. That's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hit the share button. Number 2, feel free to share any experiences with me. I would love to hear your stories of where you think that you met somebody from your past and there was just no explanation of it, but you just had this pull, this call, this something to them. I would love to hear about that. I would also love for you to challenge yourself to really get real with the lockdown of your heart, the lockdown of this thing right here, which is your guidance system to your soul path, which is the GPS that you have been looking for as to get you to your purpose, to your divine life, to that fuck yes state of being where you can call in the soulmates of your friends, your family, your lovers, and have everything that you're really truly looking for. The reason why it's not happening for you is because you're probably all armored up, and it requires a de-armoring process, which if you want to know more on that, definitely message me. I can help you through some de-armoring processes. It's deep, it's long, it's intense, it's edgy, it's rocky, it's fun, it's powerful, it's exciting. And it is what you need if you really truly want to open up this area, start accessing your core, and come at life from certainty, clarity, and your truth. I ask you to look and really feel into this space when you're working with somebody, when you are talking to somebody, when you are relating to your lover, with your children, with your animals, when you are sitting in your home and you're just looking around and you're looking at your desires and your goals for 2020. Really feel into this space and notice if there is a separation there. Notice if there is a separation or if there is connection. You're going to have connection in different areas, and in other areas you might feel that separation. It's going to rise up in fear, doubt, anxiety, worry. Those are the things that tell us that we are armored up. Those are the things that say there's separation, because your soul already knows exactly where you're going. Your soul knows exactly what you're doing. The path is clear. It's the listening that you have to get in alignment to. And in order to listen, you must be able to feel. As always, everybody, I love you. Addison Bell and I are teaching on the note of getting in touch with yourself and really learning how to tap in and tune in and feel into your body. That is what Tantra is all about. I know that everybody goes Tantra, sex and positions and orgasm and lasting longer and blah, blah, blah. That is one small itty bitty piece of the tantric pie. What Tantra is truly about, and if you really want to hear about some tantric stories, go to my website and go to, some of the videos that I have on there, because there's some beautiful talks around what Tantra really is. I'm also talking on the Union show this on Tuesday, which you're going to see coming out as well on the Union show, and we're going to be talking about, having compassion for yourself as you're moving through everything. But what Tantra truly, truly is it is an embodiment process, okay? It is basically giving you the technology of the soul that helps you to embody yourself, because we have detached, we have armored up, we have separated ourselves from our physical body, from our soul as well, and we are operating up here in mental land, okay? So if you are a great thinker, but you're not a great feeler, feelings scare you, feelings make you go, like that, and you tend to lock it down, then what you have done is you've numbed yourself out with armor. Okay, what Tantra does, and if you want to have that bigger, badder, longer orgasm and you want to really connect at that level, guess what? You have to embody yourself. You have to feel yourself. You have to really know yourself. In order to have deep intimacy with another, you must first have deep intimacy with self. Okay? Addison Bell and I are teaching our Tantra Reboot 101, 102 class. It is a VIP day. This is a really powerful, potent experience of level 1 Tantra, which is all about self. It is all about accessing self, embodying self, empowering self, learning the processes that you need to know to start to really tap in and feel who you are, to move yourself into a whole new dimension of time and connection to self. Okay. And in order, if you want to have any of that kind of good, yummy, juicy stuff with another person, guess where it starts? Right here inside the cell. So this is a powerful, powerful class that will be taught in Plano, Texas. Click on the link in the comments section if you would like to sign up for this. This is a small group event. It is a VIP day. It is extensive, powerful, long. You got questions, feel free to message me or Addison on that, of course. It is, of course, in the local DFW area. So look for that. Outside of that, if you are interested in any de-armoring and any clearing, you want to know more about anything that I've mentioned here, if I struck a nerve in any fashion or form, feel free to share your comments with me either in the comment section or privately. I welcome them. Whether you are in agreement or not, please share. Your engagement, your sharing is you also learning how to heal, how to vocalize, how to speak your truth, and to challenge yourself. I love you guys, and I will catch you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee. As always, stop existing, start living. Know that you are worthy of claiming the life that you desire.